After winning 11-2 against Sparta Prague in the Europa League, Liverpool are truly on some incredible form. And with football reaching the business end of the season, Liverpool are in a brilliant position to win multiple trophies this season after already winning the Carabao Cup. But what makes them just so dangerous and why are they really just so good? Let's get into it. Now, while I don't think last night's game is really going to prove much to many people, Liverpool thrashed a quite weaker opposition and beat them over the two legs very easily. I think it does prove a lot of things about Liverpool's team. They are able to rebuild and redesign the team every single week and find new players that really work in the system. And this is something they definitely have over their opponents this season. Manchester City and Arsenal have definitely had injury problems, but no way near the level of Liverpool. And we've seen teams like Manchester United and Newcastle have similar injury problems and they've completely fell apart. And no, Liverpool do have great depth. A lot of their youngsters have to come in because even their depth has been getting injured. And yet they're still a very competitive side. Their youngsters have been coming in. They carried them through the Carabao Cup final. They let them easily beat Southampton, a very good championship side. And they're coming into the team with ease at the moment. There's always a new one propping up every single week with an outstanding performance. And it's more encouraging and more impressive to me that these people are coming from their academy rather than players they've spent 100 million on like Manchester City. And it does show how good their academy is, but also how good Klopp is as a manager to notify these players and bring them up. And there clearly is in Liverpool a proper system of how to bring players up and get them in the first team. The reason why I say this is because they all seem to abide by the system. Now, Liverpool are a very counter-pressing team. They really are aggressive off the ball and really push people into making mistakes within their final third so they can win the ball back high. This is something they have done the whole time Jurgen Klopp is there, and it's sort of part of his system. Players will get injured and will get tired from this, and a lot of older players will struggle to do this. And this is why I think it actually helps the youngsters, if anything. Last night you saw Bobby Clark come in and he was very aggressive on that press. He was doing a bit of that Curtis Jones role where he plays very high up on that right side or left side and actually pushes the other team into making mistakes, and he is the main initiator presser. And you can see that all the Liverpool players understand that they need to do this. This is the best way they're going to win the ball back, being very aggressive at the start when the other team has the ball near their goal. And this is how they scored so many early goals in this game. They just really ran at the Sparta Prague defence and they had no chance. And while this is Liverpool's main way of winning the ball back, it's definitely not their only way. They've now got Endo in the middle of the park, who's been quite frankly brilliant this season at collecting the ball from midfield when it gets past there. And with his brilliant vision and brilliant technical ability to read the game and understand what's going on, he actually finds it very easy to pick the ball up and honestly pick the pocket of a lot of players. Even Kevin De Bruyne was struggling in the Manchester City game. Their ability everywhere on the pitch to rotate people and it still be fine is incredible. I actually don't think I've ever seen people like this. They have so many attackers who contribute to goals and midfielders, and they've got brilliant defenders coming in every week. As long as they have the main culprits there like Virgil Van Dijk, they're usually fine because they've missed a lot of their big players this season. People like Trent and Salah have been out, and players like Elliott and Bradley have really stepped up in their role, while Nunez, you can say, have really stepped up front, scoring a lot and getting a lot of assists. And this is proven by the fact they have 15 different goal scorers in all competitions this season, with obviously Mohamed Salah still being out for a long time. They're having 20 goals and 12 assists at the top and having 5 players that have double digits. Now, while these are inflated by Europa League stats, of course, they're still been in fact very clinical in the league, and they're the second top goal scorers in the country. And there's also been times where the defence has definitely struggled and had to rely a lot of their attackers scoring this amount of goals to even win games, but now it's not necessarily really like that. Virgil van Dijk is still undoubtedly the best defender in the country and one of the best in the world. His ability to demand so much off his team is brilliant. He's a brilliant leader back there and actually gets everyone in the right position a lot of the time, and sometimes it's quite hard because even against Manchester City, when Conor Bradley plays, Klopp loves to push him up into that right wing spot, a bit like he would with Trent, because of his brilliant passing and his brilliant creative work. This means often a lot of the time Virgil van Dijk actually has to do more defending and get people in the right positions, and even ask a lot for young defenders like Kwanzaa and other players in there to actually be as good as him. And you've got to take other things into account. The Jurgen Klopp factor is definitely there. Not only have they got extra motivation by the fact this is his last year, and they are performing brilliantly in every competition. They realistically could still win the FA Cup and Europa League, as well as obviously the Premier League. And he is just inevitable. It's his last season in England, and you know that they're going to want to perform for him. And I think it's a bit of a mental thing saying it early, making sure his team know that this is it, and they probably will perform for him. Because realistically, whoever comes in, I don't think Liverpool are going to be competing at this sort of level next season season, because it will take some time for the new manager to get his ideas across. And now, after the last few weeks, you've seen people like Salah come back, Szoboszlai come back, Bradley come back, and you really expect this team to move on and be very good. Because even with people like Alisson, who people largely said carried Liverpool last season, even to their 5th place spot, not missed him at all. Kelleher has clearly learnt a lot from him being on the sidelines after all them years, and he's still a very top goalkeeper, and I think he's been excellent since he's come into that team. And I don't think you can say the same about any other keepers. We're now going to see Ortega have a bit of a run for Man City because of the injury to Ederson, but even then he's not really missing too many games because of the international break. So it'll be interesting to see if he can live up to that sort of Kelleher performance. I know he's a great goalkeeper, but can you do it in a consistent Premier League outfit? And while we all agree that Ramsdale could probably do it consistently, when he's coming in for Arsenal, he's not been very impressive. So it's still a very hard thing for you to do, and Kelleher deserves a lot of credit. And even though Liverpool just played yesterday and they've got another game against Manchester United Sunday at Old Trafford, do you think that all the cards are in Manchester United's game? They should be able to win this game with the amount of time they've had rest, and the fact Liverpool still do have large amounts of injuries across their squad, but I still think Liverpool probably have the edge. I think they can probably get the job done. They just have that belief in every single game they're going to get it done, and even against Manchester City, a superior opponent with the team they put out, and large parts of it, I know you can maybe say the Anfield crowd or whatever, they were really, really good, and obviously a lot of people think they got robbed with a last minute penalty. And obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I feel like we haven't really been spoken about in this title race. It's mostly been Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal definitely do have a hard run of games, probably harder than the other two teams. And obviously a lot's going to depend on what actually happens to make this final, make things happen. There's going to be looking elsewhere because Liverpool are going to want to win the Europa League and the FA Cup, and the same with the Man City in the Champions League and the FA Cup as well. And while Manchester City are inevitable, and I think we're all worried about them because obviously they win the league all the time, and it just seems like they're going to go on this massive win streak and win it all. Liverpool are definitely a team to be scared of, and I think Liverpool in large part now after the City game has ended actually have a lot of advantages over City than people would think. I think their depth's better, I think their tactics right now are working a lot better than Manchester City's, and they're definitely a lot more dominant in games. Some games they're not, but with the amount of games they have to play, I don't blame them. They're playing a game every 2 to 3 days at the moment. There's been many times people like me and other people have written off Liverpool this season, saying their defence is not good enough, it's not sustainable, and they won't keep continuing this sort of form. But they have kept continuing, and arguably they've actually got better. I think in the last few months we've seen the real true best Liverpool. That might be down to the fact Klopp's leaving and they want to play better, but also down to the fact that the players are individually brilliant, and the tactics by Klopp are also top notch like they always are. And when you've probably got the last year of people like Mohamed Salah as well, you've also got to consider that they're going to want this even more. And as much as Arsenal haven't won it in many years, and I believe that they would want it a lot and really care, I think them two teams are going to want it a lot more than Manchester City, and Manchester City might care more about the Champions League per se. Definitely going to be a very interesting race, and I definitely think the matches like Man City and Arsenal, which is coming up soon, is going to be massive for people obviously like Liverpool and all of them. But I would still not count out Liverpool, and I think to me they're probably my favourite to win it right now, and I'd still would consider them up there. But if they are going to go and try and win everything, it might be hard for them to try and focus on one. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about Liverpool's title chances. Let me know what you think about Liverpool. Do you think they were really good, and are you really impressed by the players that have come in? Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please go and watch my video I did about Endo in the game against Manchester City, and if not, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.